Okay, so we're going to start this recording. This is the Divoom Gaming Gate. This is the Screens tab. It's the first tab you see when you load the application. And I'm going to show you, bottom right hand corner, you'll see that we have a video of my Divoom's Time Gate. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and just load an image. It doesn't, any image will work. This is just a the logo for the Divoom Gate, and you can see that this is our intro logo. We can send that, and you see the bottom right hand corner there, the left hand right here, this screen has changed. We can do that with a tenor gift search. So if we want to search for a dragon, I want to choose this specifically because I know that this image right here, there's a lot of frames. There's 30 frames in this, and actually there's some that are more. Let's grab one that's even bigger. And the reason this is 72 frames. So this is great. So you can see we have these controls down here for frame skip, image quality, and all of these we can lower the image quality, and all of this is shown live up here. Lowering this goes down to 40%. It's not actually 0. We can change the frame skip to make this go faster, which means it's going to skip those frames. We can also, like I said, lower the image quality. We can change the speed between the frames as well. I suggest using frame skip on, especially when you have long, things more than 60 frames. So if we do this 3, it's actually going to skip and play every third frame. So if I send this, you'll see it's going to take it a moment. It's loading, and then there it is in the bottom right-hand corner. So I'm going to go ahead and make this window a little bit bigger for you guys so you can see it. But you can see that right down here, there is that GIF playing. So that works for all of these. We can send something to all of them. And that brings us to our next tab, which is themes. Here you can create themes and send them as groups to the device. So let's load one of these themes. And I'm going to load just the blank theme for now. The blank theme is literally what it sounds like. It blanks everything out. And I could send each one of these separately on this screen, or I could load a different theme. I could load the purple city theme, and see it's all like city images that are purplish. Well, if I wanted to send one of those themes, I could send them one at a time from here, but from the Themes tab, I can send the entire set. You'll see every single one of the screens will change in order. If I want to send something like this, the purple city one, has larger, and all this data is stored locally, so it's going to take a little bit longer to send, but it will eventually all send to the screen. And like I said, it stores all the data locally, so even if you create, on the Screens tab, if you create a grouping of images, whether they be images that you import off your disk, images that you import off of tenor gift search, or images that are created via the AI image creator, which I will show you in a little bit, all of those can be saved as a theme, and then that theme can later be recalled to send to the device. And you'll see these images are all animations. They're taking a little bit longer to load, but that's fine. Like it does what it's supposed to do. So on the Screens tab, we could load and save any set of images as a theme. There's a Save as Theme button. There's a Clear All button. If we need to start over, you can, like I said, you can load a theme, which we've done before. And then when you save it as a theme, it shows up here on your Themes tab. And you can send it or delete it right from here. The next tab is the Characters tab. Now this is a very useful tab for all different types of RPG role-playing games that are like tabletop role-playing games. You can have a character, like we can call this character Billy Bob, and we can decide what stats Billy Bob has, and we can choose from presets. Right now I have D&D 5e and Genesis in here, but as you see, you can delete these stats, you can add new stats, and you can save a preset. So that means you can make this work for any system. Puts the stats in 2 columns, and I'm going to go ahead and make this 5e because there's more stats in 5e. You see it does 2 columns. 5e's got a ton of stats. It can handle probably, 1, 2, 3, maybe 5 more than what's on here. So you should be able to use this for just about any system. Each stat has a first number, a second number, and a modifier. So this would be used for, let's say your HP was, you had 50 hit points and you actually had 45 remaining. You see how it shows up 45 right here in green. That's because 45 is still pretty good. If I were to make this 25, it's going to be yellow because that's less than half of this. And if I were to make it like 5, it's going to show up in red because you're in the danger zone. All of that happens automatically. It's just simple, basic math. So if you have all of your hit points and you don't need to have the 45, it will remove the slash. As soon as you add 45, you'll see it puts the slash in there. Now, if you wanted to have a modifier, well, let's say you are stuck in vines and you have a -2 to your dexterity. You see that shows up right there. You can have all of these going at the same time. I don't know why you would have part of your dexterity, but you can see you can have 10 dexterity of 8 with a -2 if you wanted to look at it that way, but you don't really need this. You can just do it that way. And you can send these to the screen. And as you see, boom, right there, there is the character sheet sent to the screen. Similarly with the themes, you can save characters and load characters, and when you close the app and open it back up, everything that you did will remain there. It knows the characters you're currently working with, and you can load different sets of characters or load different characters into different slots if you're doing multiple different games. All of that works. You can have obviously up to 5 characters. If you add a stat, and I'm going to call this test. All right, and now we have a test stat, and we could save this as a preset. And we're going to call this preset test, and we're going to click OK. And now, if we wanted to say, run this with you see it now shows up. We can run it, and it puts test in there. So the reason this didn't stay the first time is because we didn't save the character, we just saved the preset. So all of this works. Character screen is wonderful. You can add backgrounds, images. So if you wanted to load a background image on your whatever, you could just load any image you want and it'll become your character background. You could then add stats from any system, including any presets, and then you can create this character, give it a name, and send it to the screen, and there you go, the character's on the screen. So that's something interesting just to keep track of characters and so that players can see their characters. Next is the Tools tab. The Tools tab is got a lot of self-explanatory stuff, and one thing that I will explain in more detail. It's got a scoreboard. You change the score on the scoreboard, it's automatically going to send it to the screen, and the screen's going to change. There'll be a little clock in the middle, and you can see you can change the scoreboard up and down, and as I change the score up and down, the score on the screen changes basically immediately. Then there is the countdown area. So we can have let's say we have a 30-second timer. We can say start countdown, and it will change to a countdown timer and begin counting back 30 seconds. Now that countdown timer is persistent, so if I go back to my scoreboard and change the red score, for instance, it's going to show this. But in 20 seconds, I can be over here messing with the score. That countdown timer is still happening in the background. So we are changing the score, and we should be just about ready to hit that countdown timer. You should hear it beep. It's going to beep. I guess it didn't beep. Oh, there it goes. I knew it would beep. All right, so there's your countdown timer. Countdown ends, it flips to it and says end and beeps. There's a stopwatch. I don't need to explain how to use a stopwatch. It's exactly how you expect. There's a buzzer where you can play that beep buzzer just by pressing this button. You can change the active time and the total time the buzzer plays. There's also, for no reason whatsoever, a noise meter. What the noise meter does is actually tell you what the decibel level in the room is. This whole section, this API tool section, are all just built-in things that are part of the Divoom API. So we're going to stop the noise meter, and it's going to go back to our previous screens. The stop button will also stop anything else and take you back to the previous screen. So if you are starting the stopwatch, for instance, and then you stop the stopwatch, and you want to get back to your screens, you can just stop the noise maker, start and stop the noise meter, and it'll go back to the regular screens. So the other thing is a banner split. Now this is interesting because we have 5 screens, but if we want to take an image, So let's just take an image, like here's a picture, and we're going to send this image to all 5 screens. We're going to use these bars to drag it. We can position it, we can shrink it and move it, we can zoom it way out, and then when it's zoomed way out, we can move it anywhere on the screen if we want to move it to one side or the other. So, but we want it zoomed in. We're going to make it like this, and then I'm just going to click send. When I click send, it is going to split it and send it to the screens. As you see, that happened very quickly. It's already on the screen. So that's just another tool for creating banners. Now, this is a big section, the designer area. All of this works the way you'd expect. You can make a circle. You can resize it. You can draw with your brush. You can then select that object, and you can change the width of the draw. You can change the width of the here. So that's all interchangeable. You automatically have select selected, so you can drag this and you can group things together like this, and then they drag together, as you see, as you'd expect. So all the normal things, and you can click this down here to clone a frame, and then you can move this, and then you can clone the frame again, and you can move this again, and you can keep going. And what this will do is create frames for an animation. Now if I click play, you'll see that that is my animation. We're going to stop that. We're going to select none, and we're going to send that to, let's say, screen 4. So we're going to send it to screen 4, and it says it sent and you can see right there on screen 4 is our animation we created. Super simple stuff. You can import images as objects. You can do texts and lines and polygons. Your polygon side is here. This up down here that's for the order of things. So let's say I import a picture like this, which is super huge. So we're going to like move it, and as you see, it covers this. It covers this up. Well, I don't want it to cover it up. I want it to be below that. So I'm going to click the down arrow. Now, if I'm not touching anything, this will be on top. Now, if I select it, it's going to be on top just because it's selected. But when I'm not touching anything, this will change the order of things. So see, now it's in front, I put it in the back, and now it's in back. So that all works, and then we can again send that to the screen as our updated image. And actually, because we have an animation, that's just part of an animation. So if we kill all these, and then we import, we'll do the same thing again. All right, we're not even going to worry about moving things around. And then we're going to put it in the back, and then we're going to say send a screen, and you'll see there it is. So right there, there's our image, there's our stuff we drew, all of that works together, and it works quite well. So over here is a AI image generator. This is by Pixel Lab, and you can just put in whatever prompt you want, whatever style you want, and then you just click generate. And it's going to take some time, and you're kind of stuck here because it's actually working. It's waiting for a response from the API. So it'll tell you when it's done, and we'll get in this image, this area right here, we're going to get the image, whatever it decides monster is in the style of fantasy art with this seed, and all of this is, there we go, we have a monster. So I'm going to delete these things, and I can use the delete button, or I can click this X. I can delete things in groups, and I can take this and I can send it to the canvas. Why send it to the canvas? Because that's how you get it other places. Okay, so we can, from here, when it's on the canvas, we can save it. We can send it. We can send it right here to the screen, and you'll see that there's our monster, which is great. So if we save it, we can then obviously use it and load it in other screens and themes, and we can do things like that. There are more features to this AI image generator coming. There's an AI character animator. All of those things are in the works, but they are not here quite yet. So that's basically how all of this works. Then you have the settings tab where you put your device IP. If you don't have a device IP, it's not going to work. It's going to tell you, I don't have a device IP. I need one because I can't send images with that one. If you click the find button, you'll see it'll search your network very quickly and see if it can find anything on the network that works. And here it says Times Gate, which is perfect. So it knew the IP. If I clear this IP and click Save Settings, and I'll just show you that it works. And I go to this designer and I say send a screen. It's going to say it sent it to the screen. Let's send it to screen 2 and 3. It's going to say it sent it to the screen, but as you see, it's not. Oh, it's still there because it has the device IP cache. I'd have to close it and restart it. the point is that if we click find, it fills in the device IP by finding the times gate on the network. We can change the brightness, and that happens pretty live. And we can turn the screens off, which works very nicely. Turning the screen off also, it turns all the lights off on the device. It's where you set your time zone, daylight savings. It can sync with internet time, your clock format, and here's your 2 API keys. To make it easier, I put little links in here to get your Tenor API key and get a Pixel Lab AI API key. This allows you to use those features like the Tenor API search, where you can go in here and search for whatever, and it'll find whatever, and you can send whatever to the screen. And then the same thing for the Pixel Lab API. So in the designer here, this requires an API, and that has to be set here. If you don't have an API key set, then it won't work. So that is pretty much the whole app as it stands right now. Nothing wild and crazy, but it does turn this device, the Divoom Times Gate, into a quite a useful tool for doing desktop role-playing games. And as a GM, if you want to set themes and set scenes, and you have, like, you want to say, okay, we're in a dungeon, and this is what you see, or you're in a dungeon and there's a door, you can kind of set that theme, create some ambiance to the whole thing. If you wanted to, say you're in a sci-fi futuristic city, and it's raining, and it doesn't have to necessarily be perfect, but you're just setting the scene. You're kind of allowing the characters to engage with another visual that would not otherwise exist without putting that in front of them. Now, in the future, I think maybe I'd like to see if I can get this to work with the Pixu 64, which is a larger device, has bigger pixels, and be able to manage multiple of those devices, or even other types of screens. But my initial use case was specifically for this Divoom Times Gate device. So the API is out there, it works. There will be links to download it in the description. It has an automatic update, so if there is a new update, and I suggest you check for updates all the time, every time you run it, because I am making updates to this pretty regularly currently. If it is something that continues and gets more popular, then the update will have a particular release cycle. I might do a monthly release cycle. But for now, since it's an active development, I am just going to probably update it about once a day, once every couple of days, until I've got all the features in there that I want and things organized the way I want. But it does work. As you see, all the features work, and it's ready to go if you'd like to use it. And I think that's it for this video. So like and subscribe and all that stuff, and I will see you in the next one.